So this is my weekly report for the 28th of December. And first I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. You know, I've been in the fishing industry for over 30 years. So all my reports are really current. I talk to guides, friends, customers. You know, I'm on the water 3 or 4 times a week. So everything I tell you, is pretty current. So you know what? Let's get on with this report. So first of all, I always start in the salt, and as you know, rock fishing is going to end on the 31st. So this week's going to be the last chance you get. And the way the weather's we're getting all these storms in. I don't think we're going to get a chance to even go out and get a last day of rock fishing in. But crabbing still going to go on all the way through June. So we can go out there and I probably will, as soon as the weather calms, I'll go back out and go after some crab. And then I go out and fish in a couple 100 feet of water for those little flounders. Those soles. They're actually very good eating if you fry them up. But anyhow, the crabbing's still been real good because commercial hasn't opened yet. So when the weather calms down, it's probably a good thing to go out and maybe do it one more time before the year's end. So other things happening in the bay, it's been a little quiet. But if you come in just a little bit by Suisun, they're still catching a lot of stripers, and the sturgeon are starting to show up. I'm sure this weather, the rain that we're getting is really going to turn on the sturgeon bite here pretty quick. And hopefully that those stripers will start moving their way in the delta. I was actually on the delta this morning with Denise and Tom, and we actually caught quite a few stripers, and the biggest was about 10 pounds. And we were fishing in the flats and probably 2 to 3 feet of water at the most. And I got this new technique that I learned. I'm always learning stuff. And I learned this new thing that happened to me, a few days ago when I was out there with Warren. And I'm going to do a video on it here real quick, but it's a totally different concept. I'm after the same fish, but I'm just reeling in a swim bait as fast as I can turn a handle. And I'm getting these fish to come up to hit it that wouldn't normally even look at it. So that's going to be coming up pretty soon here, after the first of the year. Like I said, we're taking a break. We're not doing the Monday videos until maybe the following week after New Year's. And also, we're going to move my report dates to Thursday. So I'll be doing these reports on Thursdays instead of Wednesday. But that'll be probably the second week going into January. And then, the Monday ones, they'll come back up to the videos that I do on teaching. The striper fishing, the water, we went down to Prospect Slough, and inside Liberty, the water was really stained. I can only see about maybe 4 inches down. So we left there, made a couple casts, didn't catch anything, and then we went over in the Prospect, and the water was a little bit clearer where I could see about maybe a foot at the most. But we went into these big flats, because whenever you get water coming in like this and you find those big flats with a lot of weeds, the weeds act as a filter, so the water is a little bit clearer. And then I found where I could see down about 1.5 feet, and the water's still 47 degrees. But we caught quite a few, mostly on fish traps, up to about 10 pounds. And Tom lost a pretty decent one on a best waver too. But the stripers will start showing up pretty soon, where we can go down there and have those 20 to 30 fish days rather than 10 or 15 fish. So that's going to happen real quick. I see guys over at Merritt Islands on the Sacramento River, and I know they're all sturgeon fishing, but I haven't heard if they've been catching anything yet. But I think as soon as the water started dirtying up a little bit, it should pick up here. This is kind of a weird year. This year, everything is so cold. Our temperatures are cold, water temperatures are cold. Very rarely do we ever see it get in the 40s, but it's been in the 40s for the last 3 or 4 weeks. So this is really strange. Hopefully this rain we're getting this week, it's supposed to rain like on and off for 5 days. Hopefully that it'll be a little bit warmer, warm the water temperatures up, and those fish will start moving in the delta here. So we're going to come in a little bit further and we'll go to the lakes right now. The bass fishing's been pretty decent. Comanche, I know Folsom's been good, Orville's been good. So I think most of the lakes you could actually go out and do some catching on. I know Berryessa is kicking out. I was there a couple of weeks ago and we weren't even fishing for bass, and we were actually bluegill fishing, and we were catching a lot of bass while we were out there. So I imagine that you could go out to any of our mother lode lakes or lakes in the foothills around here and actually catch a lot of bass. So that's another thing is one of the hottest lakes right now is Comanche for trout. They keep releasing big fish in there, and a lot of customers have been coming in telling me that every trip they've been getting fishing at 5 to 6 pound range, and some guys even catching them over 10 pounds. But they plant them big there. Amador's been a little bit dirty because it's a smaller compound, and when it rained hard, like this last rain we had a couple weeks ago, it made the water a little bit dirtier. So it's slowed down a little bit over there. Collins has been good still. Hey, if you guys want to go catch kokanee, Bullard's Bar, red hot. Rob called me and told me he's been getting them there. The kokanee are like 8 to 10 inches long. Once in a while you'll get one in at 12 inches, but they've been catching a lot of kokanee at Bullard's. So other things going on, the American River for steelhead's been kind of slow. Paul caught one about 8 pounds the other day. He sent me a picture and it was a hatchery fish, but he didn't even have a stringer, so he just let it go. But they should start showing up here pretty quick. Monday's going to be the opener, so the closed section between Ansel Hoffman and Hazel's been closed. A lot of salmon were in there spawning, so I imagine all the steelhead are in that area right now. So when it opens up on the 1st, which is I think this Sunday, it should be a good opener. There should be some big fish being caught. I heard there's some 8-10 pounders in the Nimbus already. So that bottom section, you know, where all those salmon were spawning, there's probably a lot of steelhead in there. So if I were to go out on the 1st, I would probably be around that closed section that opens up on January 1. Other things going on, the crappie bite and perch bite at Berryessa is still on fire. The Delta's been kind of a hit and miss, but it has been good, especially over there up north in Snodgrass. There was a lot of crappie action there last week before this rain. I don't know anybody that's been up there since. But overall, the fishing is pretty decent. It's just a little cold being out there. You know, today actually the sun came out when we went. There was no fog. It was actually a beautiful day, and you know, we caught fish, so that was a real big plus. So come again, I want to let you guys know that, you know, we're going to be doing the videos starting next Monday, coming back. Then my weekly reports are going to go to Thursday. Another thing coming up is the IST show at Cal Expo on January 19th through the 22nd. I'll be demonstrating in the theater with SEPs on Thursday and Friday, talking about how I go after all these big stripers in the winter time using big baits, you know, like 8 to 10 inch baits, and how I target them. Then on Saturday and Sunday, I'm up on the tank with Kent Brown, and you know, I go up and demo the baits actually in the tank, where you could actually see how I move them, how I make them swim, and talk about, you know, how do I go after these things, because most of the time these big fish, I'm only in maybe 2 to 3 feet of water max. I'd say most of the time in that 2 foot range. And these fish aren't schooled up, you know, they're just loners, you know, and I find them on ambush points or, you know, big flats that go out. And you know, when you get one, it's usually very rewarding. It'll be in that 20 plus category. But don't miss the show. It's at January 19th to the 22nd at Cal Expo, and I hope to see you guys there. If you like my videos, hit that like button, and always subscribe if you can, because it'll help my channel out a lot. And I know we're looking at how many views I have per subscribers, and it's so far off. And I don't know if, you know, I know a lot of us old timers, when you subscribe to something you have to pay, but you don't have to pay. but you have to have an account with Gmail or YouTube, otherwise you can't subscribe. It'll just kick you off. Look on the bottom, there's a comment button. If you want, you can ask me any kind of question you want, and I'll usually get back to you within 2 or 3 days. So I hope to see you guys at the ISC Expo show, and I'll see you guys next week.